Hi guys, well I told you I had a surprise, nothing that 5 days ago I would have ever expected to be posting about, ever in a zillion years. We are new parents. Don't get excited, no I didn't give birth. We have a baby husky, 5 days old. 6 days by the time this video goes up tomorrow. And how, you ask? Good question. As you know, we have Memphis, 1.5-year husky. My husband always had male dogs. He never neutered them, but I was adamant about it once he became a mature adult that he had to get fixed. Even though he didn't roam, even though he didn't hump a lot or at all, or he didn't have any of the behaviors like that. I know that health-wise, and then also we acquired a female dog, that it just needed to be done to just make him a healthier dog, and also to make sure we did not have no babies, obviously. So we did the right thing there, and Memphis got neutered. It took a long time again to get my husband to realize that that had to be done, because he had never ever had a non-intact male dog and had no issues with them. But now I'm in the mix, and I always had neutered dogs, spayed dogs. I always rescued. I wasn't a big breeder person till I met him. But I'm also not a breeder. So how did this happen, you ask? That's a darn good question. What actually happened was Memphis got neutered, and Nikita was going to get spayed around 6.5 months. And there was some people saying that it's good for them to wait a little longer and have a heat first. There's contradictory evidence, and then some people say that you don't want them to have a heat first. So I said to myself, let's do it before she has a heat and axe the problem. So we went in and got her shots done and everything before spay, and found out, she had a little bit of blood on the table at the time. But they told us that it was probably from the shots and the chip, because they both got their shots and a chip implanted that day. So microchip, for you that don't know, so you can find your, dog. They can be scanned if you, because we love our dogs. They're our family. They're our children. So they said it was from that, probably. Don't worry about nothing. And so we didn't. But when we were going to bring him in for the spaying, we saw some more stuff. And Memphis was totally acting normal at this time. But the vet said she was in heat, and to come back in a month or so after she was completely out of her heat to spay her. So what happened there was there's different phases of heat. It's not like a person who has a period for 5 to 7 days and then it goes away. There's different stages, and then there's the fertile stage. And there was no blood at the fertile stage. The only way I knew about it, because I never had an unspayed dog before, was that Nikita acted normal. Memphis was going ballistic. And why was he going ballistic? He was neutered, but apparently he didn't get the memo down below yet. I don't know. But we were it was like an insane few days of I don't remember exactly how long it lasted, but it felt like a month. But it was insane. I videotaped some of it. He was trying to claw his way out of his, he loves his crate. So we had to shut the crate, and we had them side by side so they knew each other were there. But I had to let them outside separately, to make sure, he wasn't annoying her because she's young, and I didn't want him to hurt her because he obviously seemed like he was sexually interested in her. So I just figured, I looked it up, and it says that even neutered dogs can still do that. And I did have another dog that actually locked with my female dog, and they both were neutered and spayed at 8 weeks. I don't believe in doing it that early, but when you go to a shelter, that's what they do. You know, 6 months, 7 months, something like that. That's good. But we didn't make the first heat, obviously. Unexpected, because I never had a dog. You know, I never had this problem before, and so. But anyway, there's a little baby cuddling up with mommy. This is still surreal. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. My mother-in-law came in. So, yeah, he was acting totally nutty for her. She obviously had some urges, but he was like crazy for her. And like I said, I had dogs that were different sexes, both were spayed and neutered, and they would actually get stuck together. And I never even knew, like, because I didn't even like have the internet back then. So I used to pour water on them and try to get, you know, somebody told me, but you're not supposed to try to pull them apart, right? So what happened was one day, my mother-in-law had opened the door, not knowing that Memphis was out, and they were behind the pool, just for a second. And I heard a noise and I ran out, and he was going at it. But there was like a lengthy thing that I dealt with my other dogs. I knew not to touch anything, but it just seemed to like end really quickly. So I just figured he was testing things out, and then after that, they were not allowed to play at all. I had to have her on the leash. I felt bad because they're best friends. They love to play together. So I felt bad that they couldn't be trusted together. She's young, smaller than him. I didn't want her to get hurt. So I took her out on a leash at night, and I would, you know, and in the mornings that I would let them, you know, sniff each other and, you know, whatever. But anytime he tried to like get on her or something, of course I was pulling, you know, the dog away. And I mean, he was making crazy noises. She'd be upstairs, he'd be downstairs, then we'd swap. She'd go outside, he'd come, you know, we had to just run our lives around it, and we were up all night long. It was like having newborns because he was howling and crying, and the only way he'd calm down is if she was in the crate next to him, but still, he would still get crazy and make some funky noises. So, you know, it was a hellish time. We got no sleep, but he never touched her after that. So, and he was neutered. Again, let me say he was neutered. So, I called the vet about the situation. They said, well, if that happens again, do not pull him apart, but don't worry about anything because, you know, he's fine. I said, so there's nothing to worry about? No. So what happened was we were going to get her spayed the 4 weeks after the symptoms of the heat were gone, and we had a few things come up. We had $7,500 in taxes that we had to pay. Our van started bobbling like this, and the steering was off, and I got kids in the car, a couple tires went bald. We were talking almost $2,000 between that, then brakes. We had a few things go wrong, all within the same time frame. My husband's crown broke. He needed to get a new one. That was money, money, money. And so there was a lot of things going on. So when I called, they said, all right, make it, you know, in a few more weeks, no big deal. So, you know, I didn't know anything. There was no way for me to think, because the vet said things were fine, not to worry about nothing, because I really wasn't thinking pregnancy. I wanted to make sure she wasn't hurt. I wanted to make sure that, you know, also, you know, why was he even having urges? And they said it was totally normal, but there was no reason for me to worry about her. If she seemed fine, if she didn't, I could bring her in, but there was nothing, like I said, they didn't, like, weren't like my other dogs were totally tied together for like 20 minutes. I mean, it was crazy. So, in thinking all was alright, I figured to put it off a couple more weeks was not going to hurt anything. One day, obviously 5 days ago, I had gone downstairs. Now, she had been, you know, picking up stuffed animals and bringing them around and stuff, but she's playful and she's young, and, you know, so, you know, we didn't really think too much of it. She acted totally normal. There were no no morning sickness, no protrusion of the belly, but she only had one baby, so it probably was, they say, up in by the ribs. So she hid it totally. And I have another female dog that's 3.5 pounds, more like half a cat, and her nipples protrude, and hers felt exactly the same. There was really nothing at all that made me think anything about pregnancy, especially with a vet telling me that he's fine and not to worry about the incident, which was, like I said, only a partial incident and a definite one-time only thing. And also he was neutered. I'll say it again. So with all that, I didn't get suspicious. But then she started like walk around a lot and dig and acted a little bit like uneasy, even though she was wagging her tail and playing. She was up on her belly, you know, on her back. I mean, wanted her belly rubbed. There was nothing. I mean, nothing. But I typed in some of the symptoms of what she was doing, and it said something about pregnancy, and I started to get a little like. Then I read false pregnancy and said, oh, that's what it is. That's definitely because she remembered the dog, like some humans, but I guess it's a lot more common in dogs. She was in her heat, and it's not uncommon for at the time that a dog would normally be pregnant, giving birth, to go through that, you know. And I honestly felt bad for her because I'm like, oh, she thinks she's pregnant, and there's no way for her to be pregnant, and she's, you know, not going to have any babies. So I put some stuffed animals around her and wanted to make her feel, you know, like she had something there. So psychologically, she'd be happy, and I spent a lot of time with her and was petting her. She was just her happy, normal self, no belly. It's like I didn't know I was pregnant for dogs. And just really, there was no telltale signs of anything at all. No loss in appetite, no increase in appetite. Nothing that I've read so much now. I feel like I'm like a zillion times more knowledgeable than I could have ever been on these things now. And we're caring for this puppy and the mom so much, round the clock, 24/7. We just love that baby. And, you know, were we thankful it was one? And how did we even know? Let me tell you. Okay, I was asleep. I was up with her during the day, and she was fine. And then at night, my husband said she curled up with her by the couch, and she seemed a little restless, though. So he stayed with her. He fell asleep on the couch. In the morning, she was in the crate, open gates. They just like the crate because it's cool and it's in the basement, so that's like their den. He walked upstairs, and I came downstairs after, you know, he goes to sleep at like 6 in the morning, and I get up around that. So I went downstairs, and I looked at her, and she looked fine and normal. She was just laying there, and like a ball, but it was cool down there. I mean, God help me, if I knew that she was pregnant, and giving birth, she would not be in a cool environment. But she wasn't screeching, crying, nothing that you would expect. So she must be like me, an absolute rock star, you know, during labor and stuff, because I'm like, forget it. I mean, I crack jokes. So she's a tough cookie. There was no way to know, and I feel horrible because she could have died during childbirth, especially with a singleton, I read. I mean, the baby could have died easier, could have been bigger, too big for her body. A lot of them need C-sections. Over 50% don't even make it. So when I went down there, I looked at her and everything, and I was like, come on, Kitty, get out of the cage. And she wouldn't come out of the cage. But she was wagging her little tail on the side, and she was looking at me. And I pet her head, and then I saw something underneath her, looked like, I didn't even know, you know, because the lights were low. It was just like something moving there, but if it was black, I wouldn't have even thought anything because it would have meshed with her own fur, but it wasn't. It was tan. It was a Memmy color, okay? So I'm seeing Memmy somewhere else, and plus, unless she squashed him into like a plush, a Beanie Boo, there was no way that it was Memphis, obviously. So I lifted up her hind leg, I looked down, and I saw a puppy, and I said, oh my God. I couldn't believe it because I was certain. I mean, false pregnancy in dogs is so common. Her situation sounded exactly like it. She did the same things, and she was not in any sort of pain like she had a real delivery, so why would anybody think that? So I felt horribly guilty that she was alone with my husband sleeping on the couch when she actually delivered the pup, because if she needed someone to break the amniotic sac or she's supposed to chew the umbilical cord, if she needed human help with that, if she needed a C-section, we wouldn't have known. And so I cried. I was crying. And plus she's young. She's only just 9 months now. So I was really freaking out, okay? Because she just turned 9 months. She's a baby, so I started freaking out. I came upstairs and I said, listen, hon, there's a puppy down there. And he came down. He couldn't believe it. It was like a shock. I mean, 5 days later, I'm still in shock. So immediately we brought a crate upstairs. We put the heater on, made sure it was warm, started doing all the reading, made sure that she was producing some milk, the colostrum for the baby. I mean, thank God I've had 5 kids, so at least I know certain things, mastitis. I know a bunch of different things about, aftercare with newborns. Newborn dog, new to me, but I was doing a heck of a lot of research on the subject, and it didn't make me an expert, but at first I just was so happy. I'm like, it's one baby, thank God, because I know that I could not give it up. So if there was 5, 10 babies, what would happen to our house? How would but I didn't know at that time, because obviously I've had a multiple birth, but singletons are optimal in humans. They're not really optimal in dogs. So this is only in theory, and the vet was like, no way, because I called and then I had to bring them in to get checked, and she's like, and I'm like, listen, do you need a picture of the dog? No dog crept into my yard. This dog was supervised 100% of the time. No dog was after her except this dog, and he was near her one time and was not around her again, and was fixed here. So how do you explain that? When she saw the pup and then saw the father, okay, there's no denying that's Memmy. Hey, Kita, pumpkin eater. There was no denying, no paternity test needed. I mean, come on, look at this. So we're in love with this baby here. We're shocked, but I remember back to when I was trying to have one baby, and the doctor told me I had 1 egg. There was absolutely and it wasn't even a good one, so probably no chance of pregnancy. But, see you next month, we'll talk then. But I asked specifically about my chance of multiples just because I was afraid of multiples. I didn't think it would be healthy for me. I didn't think our relationship, our finances, anything could handle it. I one at a time, right? I didn't want to go out with a bang. But I was supposedly only had 1, and you tell me Annie and Allie are from the same egg. They are 2 different eggs. So there was a 1 in a billion shot. They told me no chance for multiples. So this is like a similar situation of the impossible happening yet again. And of course they don't want to admit that, hey, well, oops. But I'm not saying they screwed up, but they should have informed us that if it was within a certain time period, it's possible for something to happen. But maybe there was only 1 because most of the stuff was dissipated by then. But whatever the case may be, is if you have your male dog around a female dog and you think that because you had it neutered any time in the last, I don't even know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I would just don't even, even 2 months. I wouldn't trust 2 months or 3 months. I'm telling you, it can happen, okay? So it's something that they denied to me, and if they would have told me, we would have had her in there to get checked and spayed because of her age. I mean, it's not that I don't love puppies, but we're not breeders. I had no intention on having any puppies with her. So between the dogs, Owl, there was no intention there. And we were going to be a 2 husky household. Now we're a 3 husky household.
Baby potato!
Baby potato. He's the sweetest thing in the world. But, Michaela, please keep him down. He's a baby.
Can I sit with him?
The only hard part about it is making sure everything is, making sure he's latching on, making sure he gets all his milk. She's doing a great job licking his hiney and privates to make sure he pees and defecates. There has been no need for supplementation on our part, that we have everything here in case we had to do it. We made a whelping box. We're doing everything we can, and we've been reading day and night and working day and night to make this work. But however, it was totally unexpected, totally not planned for. We're giving her supplements, calcium and otherwise, because she's young and because this is obviously taxing. I mean, I was a teenage mother. It's extra dangerous. So this is nothing that we ever would have planned. So we would have had an emergency spay as soon as she weans our little baby that we're considering Yoda.
Considering?
Well, probably Yoda, because when he came out, he's all wrinkly like Yoda, and I think Yoda's so cute. From Star Wars. I'm a fan of Yoda. Not a fan of Star Wars, but a fan of Yoda. We are definitely getting her spayed immediately and hoping that she's fine for the duration, taking good care of her. But just please be careful. I mean, this was totally unexpected. Please don't call us irresponsible here, because everything that I did was, totally irresponsible. If my husband would have listened to me and did it sooner, I guess it wouldn't have happened, but the vet really dropped the ball on this one. And Michaela, please just leave her with the baby, please.
It's stuck on my lap.
Keeping the kids away, that's 99% of the problem. She needs to have her on. She's very good about it. She's very good about letting us near the puppy and everything. Not so cool with Memphis being around it, but I learned that you're not supposed to do that. They're not human beings, so they don't know, oh, that's my baby, So the mother is going to be protected for a little while, but they still go out and play and stuff. And she's doing really well, thank God. The delivery, postpartum went smoothly. Couldn't ask for more of a miracle. Just like me with the twins. I guess when something's meant to be, it's meant to be. But that's the story there. So just take caution. Anyway, so I want you to meet the beautiful baby that now is ours. So we have some challenges with the singleton that he doesn't have litter mates to contend with, so we have to try to step in, and there's Beanie Boos in there to try to get him to climb over so he doesn't become a fat swimmer, so he can walk. And we'll take you through videos and pictures of him. And I'm going to make a channel, 3 Howling Huskies, and start posting our life of Huskyville on there, because I can only imagine that he's going to be a wonderful dog with the 2 parents that he has behind him. So thanks for watching. Take care. I love you all. Subscribe, please. Kayla, do you have to flush the toilet when I'm talking? And this is the new whelping box we made for them. We've only put it down extra 4 inches because Kita can easily walk over that. And the baby's not going to be able to get out for a while, so that's what we did there. We can always cut a bigger lip if we need to. It's got a pig rail in there, and I do have a video on how to make the whelping box. And as you can see, Baby Yoda is happily snuggling with his litter mate, one of his litter mates. I'm going to put some more in there. And we had socks full of rice, heated rice. We got the heater over here. I'm going to have to move that mat because she was in here. And she was happy in there, but I think she's happier with all the space. And the baby can get more exercise, and right now he's sleeping. But he's nursing while he's gaining weight. You got to make sure he gains, good amount of weight every day. And he gains a few ounces every day, so 2 to 3 ounces, which so far is good. And she's got 2 rear teats that are feeding her little man well, and she's eating more. You have to feed your dog more. So if they eat 2 meals a day, you bump it up to 4. Smaller meals are easily digestible, and some high protein snacks, only quality snacks that are high in calories, because just like a mother needs to eat extra calories during pregnancy and that nursing stage, So do dogs. So you want to make sure she doesn't lose any weight, he doesn't lose weight or stay the same weight, and hopefully he'll fare well as a singleton. I mean, you know, I kind of feel sad, like, oh, I wish he did have one litter mate so that he'd be, or had access to somebody who had puppies to have like a help with this, because I could borrow litter mates for him. Some breeders do that when they have a singleton. There, she's doing her job there. And the thing is, all right, Michaela, please. He'll just need some extra TLC and some also lack thereof, like we have to try to pretend to be a little bit of his litter mates, and because he has easy access to the nipple at all times and he doesn't get as much exercise, so that's why these little bumps in the road here, his little fake litter mates, are important, so that he climbs over them, and I sit around him most of the day. So when he goes for the nipple, I'll put something in couple things in his path, so he has to go and, you know, work a little harder to get his meal, even though it makes me feel bad. I know that it's for the best, but he's a little chunker, so we just gotta make sure he doesn't get too chunky.
Chunky monkey.
He's just the cutest thing, right, Kita?
Monkey.
Kita was out digging, right, Kita? She's back to her old self, but she does, of course, come back to this box. She goes out, she pees, she poos, she comes running back in to make sure he's okay, but she leaves him a little bit to, you know, play with Memmy now. She wasn't interested before. But again, you know, dogs aren't human beings, so they don't know who's a threat, you know, that Daddy, you know, is or isn't a threat, and we don't even know that. But, you know, Memphis is just curious. I do have some video of him going up before I knew, you know, and I didn't let him go near the baby, but he did go around the cage and sniff, and I thought that was probably a good thing to do, but I didn't want to stress the mother out. So now I know from my reading that, you know, got to keep the mother stressed, just like a human mother, because we get stressed too, because the last thing you want is her to reject the baby. But so far she's an excellent mommy, right, baby girl? But now she's more back to herself. She spends most of the time with him, but I mean, she makes the bed, she'll like straighten it out. It's very bizarre to see an animal do that. And she does like roll him over and stuff. I think she takes on some of the role of being a sibling too, because she knows that he's the only one, right, Kita? Okay, so I'll show you some adorable pictures and some video. You're going to stretch here. Okay, go out and, you know, you can watch our journey. 3 howling huskies now. Who knew? But that's the story. He's such a little man. I love that little guy. And who knew how much Daddy would love him? Daddy was like, you know, you would think he'd be the first one to say, no way, not happening. But nope, he's in love. He was in love that first day. He was. Okay, not too much handling, Michaela. I mean, singletons are supposed to be handled more, but he's still so young that we're not supposed to handle him too much. But she doesn't mind it. I just want to make sure we make all the right choices for him, so he has a long, happy, healthy life. So he's our miracle baby, obviously. Just like one of the twins, don't know which one, is a miracle baby too. Okay, peace out. See you soon.